Canada is renowned for its immense size and diverse geography, stretching from the Pacific to the Atlantic and deep into the Arctic Circle. The three northern territories, Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut together cover almost 4 million square kilometers, which is nearly 40% of Canada's total land area. Despite their vastness, they are home to fewer than 130,000 people in total, less than 0.5% of the country's population. To put this in perspective, the province of Ontario alone has over 15 million residents living in a much smaller area. Similarly, major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal each have populations many times larger than all three territories combined. This striking imbalance highlights a unique aspect of Canadian settlement. The overwhelming majority of Canadians live in the southern regions, close to the US border, where the climate is milder, transportation is easier, and economic opportunities are more diverse. Understanding why so few Canadians choose to live in the Northern Territories requires looking beyond sheer size. Harsh environmental conditions, geographic isolation, limited infrastructure, and the historical development of Canada's southern corridor all play a role in shaping where people live today. 1. Extreme climate. The Northern Territories of Canada are defined by some of the most severe climates on Earth. Large portions of Yukon, Northwest Territories, and nearly all of Nunavut lie above the Arctic Circle, where the environment is shaped by long, harsh winters and short, cool summers. In many communities, winter conditions can last for up to 8 months of the year, with temperatures frequently plunging below 40 degrees Celsius and wind chills making it feel even colder. In places such as Resolute or Alert, the temperature can stay below freezing almost year-round. Another major challenge is polar night, when the sun does not rise at all for weeks or even months during the winter. This prolonged darkness affects not only mental health and daily activities, but also limits opportunities for farming, construction, and outdoor work. Conversely, in summer, the region experiences midnight sun, with continuous daylight, which can also disrupt sleep patterns and routines. Permafrost, the permanently frozen ground underlying much of the Arctic, presents serious obstacles to development. Building stable foundations for homes, roads, and infrastructure is technically complex and expensive. Structures must be engineered to cope with shifting ground caused by seasonal thawing and freezing cycles, which can damage buildings and pipelines. Additionally, the extreme cold requires constant heating, specialized equipment, and heavy winter clothing to maintain safety. Energy costs are extremely high, because fuel must often be flown or shipped in during limited ice-free periods. Combined with limited daylight, blizzards, and dangerous wind chills, these factors make even simple daily tasks like traveling to school or getting supplies much more difficult compared to southern Canada. 2. Remoteness and limited infrastructure. Another major reason for the low population in Canada's Northern Territories is their extreme remoteness and underdeveloped infrastructure. The region spans vast, rugged landscapes that are often inaccessible by conventional means of transport. Many communities, especially in Nunavut, are not connected to the national road or rail networks. Instead, they rely heavily on air transportation or seasonal access by boat or ice roads, which are only usable during certain months of the year. In remote communities, a liter of milk or gasoline can cost 2 to 3 times the national average. In addition, unpredictable weather can ground flights or close seasonal roads, disrupting supply chains and isolating residents for days or weeks. Many small northern communities lack full-service hospitals, and patients often need to be airlifted to major centers in southern Canada for treatment. Internet access is improving but still lags behind the national standard, especially in smaller or isolated communities. Similarly, housing shortages are a persistent issue, with many homes overcrowded, under-insulated, or lacking modern utilities due to the difficulty and cost of construction in remote areas. 3. Limited economic opportunities. Unlike the densely populated southern provinces where diverse industries such as manufacturing, technology, finance, and agriculture create a broad range of jobs, the economies of Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut are narrowly focused and heavily reliant on resource extraction. Mining for minerals like gold, diamonds, and zinc provides many of the region's high-paying jobs, but these opportunities are often temporary, cyclical, and project-based. When mines close or global commodity prices fall, entire communities can face economic hardship and population decline. Beyond mining, there are relatively few large employers. Some jobs exist in public administration, education, and healthcare, but these roles primarily serve the existing population rather than driving substantial growth. Traditional economic activities like hunting, fishing, and artisanal crafts remain culturally important, especially for indigenous communities, but they do not offer widespread employment on a scale that attracts significant migration from the south. Agriculture is almost non-existent due to the harsh climate and permafrost, which limits local food production. Tourism focused on adventure travel, wildlife, and indigenous cultural experiences does generate income, but is seasonal and constrained by the cost and difficulty of traveling to the north. 4. Historical settlement patterns. The roots of Canada's population distribution go back centuries, long before Confederation, and help explain why the Northern Territories remain so sparsely settled today. From the earliest periods of European colonization, explorers and settlers focused on the southern regions of Canada, especially along the St. Peak, Lawrence River, the Great Lakes, and the Atlantic coast, where the climate was milder, land was fertile, and waterways provided natural transportation routes. In contrast, the far north remained largely inaccessible and inhospitable to newcomers, while indigenous peoples, like the Inuit, Dene, and Gwich'in, have lived sustainably in the region for thousands of years. European settlers had little practical reason to establish large, permanent communities in such a harsh environment. During the 19th and 20th centuries, nation-building efforts, such as constructing the Canadian Pacific Railway and developing agriculture, focused on opening the prairies and linking the populated areas of the East and West. Little equivalent investment was made to encourage large-scale settlement in the Northern Territories. As a result, infrastructure, economic development, and government services all became concentrated in the southern half of the country. 5. Cultural and social factors. Unlike the provinces in southern Canada, which have seen waves of immigration and internal migration for centuries, the North has always been home primarily to Indigenous peoples, whose cultures, livelihoods, and communities are closely tied to the land. The Inuit, Dene, Gwich'in, Métis, and other First Nations have maintained unique languages, traditions, and ways of life adapted to the harsh Arctic environment for thousands of years. For many Indigenous residents, connection to their ancestral territories is central to their identity and cultural continuity. However, the traditional subsistence economy based on hunting, fishing, trapping, and gathering does not draw large numbers of non-Indigenous Canadians to settle in the region permanently. Although few people choose to live in the Northern Territories, there is no denying that this region possesses some of the most magnificent and unspoiled landscapes in all of Canada. Endless expanses of snow, night skies illuminated by the breathtaking northern lights, towering mountain ranges, and vast, pristine lakes create a dramatic beauty that is hard to match anywhere else. This raw, untouched environment, combined with the unique Indigenous cultures, has turned the Northern Territories into a compelling destination for travelers who love nature and seek extraordinary experiences. While it may not be a place suited for large-scale settlement, the North holds a special place in the hearts of Canadians and visitors alike as a symbol of strength, purity, and the stunning grandeur of the Arctic. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked this video, feel free to share your favorite fact in the comments below. See you in the next video.